it back. Will we win this run? Isaac, you're lucky this game's so fun. How many IPAs can you drink in a sitting? I don't know, like 2? 1, definitely. 2, probably. 3 is like, what am I trying to do? 3 is where you get to the point where you're like, listen, are you really doing this? Whatever. I mean, like, on a physical level, could I consume more of them? Yes, but, like, why? Luck down. You're robbing tomorrow to pay today? Only the first 2 need to be good anyway, then you can switch to the Peroni. Okay, based and callback pilled, but also, like... You gotta remember, I'm not going out for, like, a night with the lads, you know? I'm not... It's not like Friday night pub time. Just, like, sometimes, like, on a Friday, I'll be like, you know... Oh, it's been a long week. I'll have, like, a beer. So I'm not gonna have, like 5... tall cans of double IPAs. It's like suicidal. In order for that to be socially acceptable, you have to be surrounded by other people all doing the same thing, so that in your addled state you can all egg each other on to do more physical and mental damage to yourselves. Yeah, as an adult you can only do that. People would be like, oh, I had 6 beers before lunch today. Or what's wrong with you? Do you need to go to rehab? No, I was just golfing. Oh, why didn't you say so? Why didn't you say so? I thought you had a problem. I was scared, but then I realized you did it outside with your shirt tucked in. And I'm like, I was worried for a minute there. You really had me going. Have I been rude to you, Isaac? Like, is that what's happening here? Is that why you're giving me just pure ass items over and over? Yes. I have other stuff I can play, Isaac. It's not. This isn't 2017, okay? I'm not a captive audience anymore. I could play Vampire Survivors in a heartbeat. Fix your game. It should be giving you brimstone on the first floor guaranteed. I could be playing V Rising right now. I could be playing Marvel Snap. I've started to unlock some new cards in Marvel Snap that have new mechanics, including destroying other cards and discarding other cards. Handsome Pansome. Hey, thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you. Then why aren't you? Because every time I play Marvel Snap, people go, Pog, I love Bat Chest Poker. Discount Brimstone. Pog. Bat Chest Poker is a great name. Hey, Isaac, tell me, do you be shitting? Okay, that's enough internet for today. That game looks bad. Well, here's the thing. It looks bad, but it is good. Like Dwarf Fortress. I love Dwarf Fortress. Yeah, everybody does. It looks like dog shit, though. Like, we're not denying this, right? I love PC gaming. Dude, you gotta play Dwarf Fortress. It's so good. It's like the greatest game ever made. Okay, I got it. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, well, yeah, obviously, idiot. What, did you just get the game? You didn't even look up Dill Boy's recommended mod list before you guys started? Amateur. First, you got to download this weird thing from like a keygen website that is 100% guaranteed to be spyware. Then you're going to use that as your mod loader to side load real art into a game that's made up of ASCII characters. Hey, 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 my deal with the devil. No offense, Dill Boy. By the way. I'm not knocking Dwarf Fortress. I'm knocking fans of it. I know we've been down this road before, but you ever just, like, think about how much money Bandai Namco owes to the guy who made DS Fix for Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition on PC? Like, he got paid nothing, and his mod probably, I don't know, generated, like, tens of millions of dollars in sales for them, if not more. Especially when you consider the fact that, like, 1 in 2 people who bought Dark Souls on PC then went on to buy every other game that From Software went on to create. Talk about, like, well, it's not a thankless job, but it is like a payless job. They're all the same game. Wrong! Say we find whoever did this and spank their bare back, butt, and balls. Maybe you could do it, sir. Absolutely not. Okay, then you! Well, somebody's got to do it. I don't want to do this room. I'm sorry. I'm leaving. This room has disrespected me too long. I will be leaving now. Life's too short to do that room. Okay, I deserve that. Yep, okay, yep. It's gonna be one of those days, huh? It's gonna be one of those days, huh? Just hold R. I've never held R. And I never frickin' will. I can't believe they would just lie to me and tell me Montezuma's Revenge is a 3-star item. What's... Ed, like, who actually hurt you? Why would you put this in... Why are you using pills? Because I'm desperate, man! I didn't get paid for the previous casino. Anybody else? No. Honestly, you're just... I hate to tell you this. It could be a bug, but the more likely outcome is that you're just mistaken. Or maybe you went to the bathroom and you thought, wait a minute, I haven't gotten a huge influx of points. That's because the doubters won the last one. Don't make me go up into the damn blockchain. It's like burning down a hectare of rainforest every time I open the damn ledger. No! What a great day to be a doubter. I just don't understand why they, why'd they make it, so ass! We're gonna pay out the doubters on that one. We're gonna run it back. I'm not even putting a slash marker in there. I'll tell you, this is like one of those times where I'm like, man, just because I put Isaac on the docket today, there's going to be no Isaac videos on YouTube next week. All of my all of my desire to play Isaac has evaporated now that I remember what the game is actually like. It was a glorious honeymoon while it lasted. Is there any merit to the theory that the RNG is tied to, like, your system clock? Or was that, like, made-up copium? Because it really does seem like when you get, like, one ass run, you seem to get a high quantity of ass runs that are very similar to the ass run that you just had. And I know what you're going to say, because you have taken a stats course, you've audited a stats course on YouTube, but not done any actual, like, evaluation for it. When you lose one, you just tilt, and then you play worse. It leads to worse habits, which leads to worse runs, which makes you think that your losses are clumped. Yeah, that could explain it, if you would give me, like, any proof of it, when what you could actually do is just tell me, is it possible that it's clumped based on your system clock? Because if so, then that could explain it too. Not everything has to be explained by some form of bias. Sometimes it'd be like, hey, that meal was the best meal I've ever eaten. Recency bias? Go ahead, do an MRI right now. Look at how my brain lit up when I sampled the raclette. It could be recency bias, or it could also be the finest meal I've ever eaten. Logical fallacies be like astrology for STEM students. Holy cow. Owned. People be like, you can't use a personal attack in a debate. Why? Who came up with that rule? Fucking Socrates? He's a bozo. He's almost as stupid as you are. Looks like oh, you're crying? Looks like I win the debate now. I would say rhetoric needs to enter its attitude era. They've been fighting clean for too long. Who's the Stone Cold Steve Austin of debates? That's true. It's definitely Donald Trump. Yes, you're 100% right. Yeah. Okay. I'd like to go back on that. The metaphor completely tracks. Have you ever seen the Wikipedia article that is list of nicknames Donald Trump has had for his political opponents? The scroll bar on the side of the browser is like this big, and you're scrolling down. Every single man has a sad little, puny little, sad Joe, sleepy Joe, asleep Joe, can't hold it together Joe, sad little Joe, Joseph, Joby. Every single one, it's hilarious. I'm sorry to tell you, every single one made me laugh. Not for the same reason, but every single one got me. Oh, Joby, that's the nastiest thing. Unfortunately, politics is not stand-up comedy. But if it was, I mean, that's a 538-0 victory for sure. We would make America laugh again. Mini Mike Bloomberg, sad little Elon, low energy. There's absolutely no doubt. He's an all-time poster. I'm not saying, by the way, that under any circumstance you have to hand it to him. But he is one of the most important posters of our time, without a doubt. Tim Apple's a good one. Kofefi. Take the pill? No, I learned my lesson, okay? I do think it's kind of crazy that you're absolutely right. How did Gen Z let someone born in the 1940s become the most important shitposter of the 21st century? You grew up with shitposting. I'm not gonna take any responsibility. I grew up before, like, I didn't get my first computer until it was like I was already 8 years old or something like that. The internet didn't really exist. I was paying by the minute for the internet until like 2005. If you were born in 2000, what? It's a home game, man. I was typing in there is no secret cow level into BattleNet. Hey, Ometra. Thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you. But there is a secret cow level, Jan. You don't know the toll that carrying 3 TP scrolls around has on a man. Snip, snap, snip, snap. Listen, we take these, we roll these. I'm taking my life into my own hands now. I have been grifted on BattleNet, yes. I've definitely had my godly plate of the whale stolen because somebody in BattleNet told me if I dropped it on the ground, he would duplicate it for me, and then as soon as he picked it up, he disconnected from the server. Me as an 11-year-old kid. What? No way! Huh? Hey, Finchy, thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you. Thank you. That happened to my dad on Twitter with Bitcoin. That boy's marmy, thank you as well. I don't know what it means, but thank you. Maybe he's still duping it. I mean, honestly, like, I'm impressed that your dad could... He's technologically competent enough to accidentally get scammed out of Bitcoin. My dad doesn't even use online banking. And he's only, like, in his mid-50s. I don't know, like, I feel like those bots are so funny. The scam you always see is like, hey, why don't you let me, like, hold a Bitcoin? If you send me 0.1 Bitcoin, I'll send you a whole one back. This is why we need, like, financial literacy classes. I feel like if we did a better job of teaching our citizens that that's the stupidest thing of all time, then, like, why... They wouldn't fall for it, because they would be inoculated against it just due to common sense. Like, if I had a guaranteed trick to 10x my money, you'd never see me again. I'd be gone, man. That's what I was saying to Dan. Like, if you take $10 and turn it into 100,000, do not distribute the profits. Take the 10,000, like, multiply it by an equivalent factor, and then give away $1 billion 365 days later. If anything, it should be easier because you're not starting with $10. But anyway. Instead, I'm out here, like, turning sandwiches into Isaac episodes, like, 30 minutes at a time, like a schmuck. My dad keeps falling for scams. He keeps getting his accounts hacked. It sucks. Honestly, like, this is, like, the tragic part of old age, for sure. Who's to say, like, right now, you know, you'll get a voicemail that's like, this is the Canadian government. You haven't paid your taxes in 50 years. Please call us right now or you're going to prison. There's an officer on his way. When you're, like, you know, in touch with the world, you say, and you delete the voicemail because that's insane. But if you're, like, 80 and, like, technology is, like, confusing to you and, you know, you don't fully understand how it works and stuff like that, then I think it's easier to be like, I mean, I don't want to go to prison, and then just, like, fall for it. Who's to say it won't happen to us someday? I got a text the other day. Is this real? I got a text the other day that said I'm wanted for murder and they're going to shoot me on sight. Holy cow. They texted you that? I think you're in trouble, brother, because they got your phone number. They should be able to get your phone records or something, and they're going to find you. We had that happen once, except it was actually the CRA. Like, why did they make their phone call sound so scammy? Well, the trick is, like, that the CRA is like the monster from It Follows, right? It's slow-moving, but don't underestimate it. All official communication, I believe, comes in the form of actual, like, hard copy correspondence mailed to your house or distributed through, like, the CRA portal on their website. Which reminds me, we went to my father-in-law's house to drop off some stuff this weekend, hanging out in his living room. I know what you're going to ask. Was he watching golf? Yes, he was. And God bless him. He loves it. But I was looking at his coffee table, and he had a letter on his coffee table unopened from the Canada Revenue Agency. And I was like, man, what's it like to have that level of, like, mental freedom? I wouldn't be able to go to sleep. Like 99 times out of 100, it's like, here's the installments that you've paid this year. Thank you, citizen. Have a great day. Like 1% of the time, it's like, contact us immediately or you're going to go to prison. You got to open that, man. You got to open that letter as soon. I don't even walk in the front door first. I open that in like the shared lobby. I can't let that weigh on my mind for any longer than is necessary. But then Kate was like, well, he's retired, so like actually he doesn't really like have to pay tax. Every time he gets a letter from the government, it's just like a check. And I was like, you know what? She's absolutely right. Because if you know that there's like a couple $100 inside the envelope, you're like, I don't need to open that right away. Let's just leave it there. Retired in his 50s. Did I say 50s? He looks like he's in his 50s. He's actually like 67. Dude's got a full head of hair. Drives me crazy. You're right, he is literally leaving money on the table. You said early 50s? Yeah, I'm not all there today. My dad's in his mid 50s. Kate's dad is in his mid to late 60s. You said that? Why are people trying to gaslight me then? I'll say things wrong all the time. You don't need to manufacture one. Let's go. My dad's the same age as your dad, and my dad is... Wait, my dad's the same age as your dad, and I'm 23? Yeah, my parents had me, I think my mom was 21 and my dad was 22. Maybe my mom was 22 and my dad was 23. She's pretty young, for sure. But, like, there was nothing else to do. Like, I think they just needed, like, a hobby or something like that. They're like, oh... It is weird, though. I don't think there's too many families that, like, start early, and then after one, they're like, all right, I'm done. I think most of the time, especially in the modern day, when you hear someone that's like, you know, oh, I'm 22 and I have a 1-year-old, you're like, oh, you must be planning to have, like, 7 kids. You must be angling for, like, a TLC show. They just had one, and I guess it was like, you know, when you hit oil, you stop drilling. Why dilute the gene pool when we've added such a fine specimen to it on our first try? I'm 33. I have 3 kids. My eldest is 14. I do think about that sometimes. That's crazy. Like, I'm 33. I was like 10 when my dad was 33, and he was old as dirt. It was like he's younger now than he was when I was 10. Like, I have memories of my dad being like my own age, the age that I am now. Not when he was 10. That'd be like pretty weird. There's some Benjamin Button stuff, but sure, I'll take. But like, I have friends I have a friend who had a kid at 23. And Malf, we have a mutual friend. He must have been 23 or even 22. I know how this sounds, but like I think like, and I don't mean this derisively, but I think part of it depends on where you live, not just like culturally speaking, but like I think you live in a city, you're like, let's enjoy, or like just a place where other people live. You're like, we're in a committed romantic relationship, but let's just enjoy ourselves for like a few years before we think about settling down. And if you live where like Malf and I grew up, it's like, you know, you got a girlfriend, you got a place to live, and you got a job that you're probably gonna be at for like, you know, maybe hopefully the rest of your life. I say hopefully because I think it's like an ambitious thing in the modern day, not a sad thing. But you're like, what else am I gonna do? Might as well start, you know, pumping a couple out. Don't call them the pull-out years. It's it's irresponsible. And then, like, people are being very judgmental in the chat, but you gotta see the flip side, too. Like, having a newborn infant when you're 19 probably sucked pretty bad. But, like, having them possibly move out and go to college when you're 37 is crazy, dude. You're like a little baby. And then, I know that sounds like dismissive of your relationship with your child to begin with, but then, like, on top of that, when your kid is like 25, you're gonna be 44. Like, you guys are almost in like a peer group. That's cool. Sometimes we used to go to activity gym. I don't apologize how insulting this is, but there would be like a really old dad and his kid would come in. Like, the dad was like in his 60s and the kid was a year and a half. And I'm always like, I can't talk with the 60-year-old dad, man. What am I supposed to say about this dude? Like, he was born in like the late 50s. We're not part of the same like era. We can't have conversations. I'll be like, oh, raising this child's been pretty hard. My back is sore. I'm gonna say that with a straight face to like a 65-year-old dad. My dad is 83 and I'm 22. I'm sorry, I can't say it with a straight face because that's like a real situation. But that is crazy. My dad's 25 and I'm 29. Listen, okay, congrats, you were born on February 29th. I've done this brain teaser before. Huge respect, man. Like, listen, people are gonna laugh, but like, being in your 30s, I think, if you're in like reasonably good health, is pretty close to like the prime of your life in some ways. You know, you're like, your brain and body are fully developed. You might be hitting your stride professionally, or maybe not. I'm not. That's like, it's a side issue. I'm not trying to like make anybody feel, you know, like they're behind the curve or whatever. It's your own life. And even then, like, there's just some days where you're like, man, I'm like tired. I'm sore. I don't have like a lot of energy. I'm just gonna like let her play with her Peppa Pig playset while I like lay on the hardwood like a beached whale, just like. You just don't have it in you. Yeah, my beard hurts, etc., stuff like that. I can't re-roll this in good consciousness. I gotta keep this, man. I can't imagine doing that in your 40s, much less in your 60s. I literally walked right into it. I did. So my daughter, she always says, like, show me photos of me, like of herself on my phone. I was doing it the other day. Kate was in the room and a photo came up. She must have been like a month old. And I have her like, she sat on my knee And I have like a burpee cloth for when they throw up. She sat on my knee, and I'm like patting her back, and I'm looking straight at the camera. And I had to zoom in on the photo. I showed it to Kate. It's like, it's a real like microcosm, or it's symbolic of what like the first few months of a newborn's life are like as a parent. My eyes are dead and like half closed, and I have dark circles and like lines under my eyes. And I have like the worst maintained beard I've ever had in my entire life, and I'm like fat and bloated. I haven't shaved my head in like 2 weeks, so I got like the Elliot Spitzer haircut going on, except with nothing on the top to even comb over. It was like, man. And what's crazy is if you had asked me that day, how do you feel? I probably would have been like, not too bad. Then I look back and I'm like, holy fuck. We were going through the damn ringer, man. I'm like, that's like a before and after shot. People would be like, oh, is this before photo from like when you were in your 40s, and this after photo is like when you were in your 30s? I'd be like, no, dude. I was like 31 in that one. I'm 33 now. No! Isaac. You notice your baby developing object permanence? Bro, she's 2 years old. She's way past the object permanence. Oh. She's making like full sentences. She's using conjunctions. Can I tell you, yesterday I said, what did you do? Or maybe Kate said, I don't want to take credit. But either way, I was there. We said, what did you do at daycare today? And she said, we went to the library. From an adult, not that crazy of a sentence. From a little, like, baby, you're like, went? How'd you learn went? That doesn't even make logical sense. You go from goes, to went, but somehow you got there. It's crazy. Oh my god. She did not say we goed to the library. She said we went. It's absurd. But she does say, I mean, listen, don't make fun of my daughter's English, okay? It's coming along real quick. But sometimes I'll be like, she'll say like, Daddy, I want cookie. And I'm like, well, you can't have a cookie because you just had a chocolate egg. Obviously, that's ridiculous. What do you think I'm not trying to, like, you know, ruin your life before you even have, like, formed memories or anything like that. And then I'll say something like, do you want a banana? And then she goes, no, me am not want banana. And I'm like, oh, okay, listen, you're in an emotional state right now. I'm not going to correct your grammar right now. Listen, are you in an emotionally stable enough place to hear distressing news? Because I'm not giving you a cookie. I'm not going to be that dad. Listen, here's 4 glasses of chocolate milk. I'm not giving you a cookie, though. Me am not want banana. It was like when we were on the cruise, she went through a phase where she only wanted Kate to do stuff for her, which is really hard because mostly she wanted to be picked up. So she wanted to be picked up like 10 hours a day. And I'm like, Daddy can help. She's like, no! But on the cruise, I tried to help out once, and she said, no, me not want daddy. Me not like any daddy. And I was like simultaneously like more crushed than I've ever been in my entire life. But I was also very impressed with her ability to construct like a completely original diss. I was like, we can repair the relationship. I'm just glad that like that kind of... I mean, now I have an excuse for my own insults at chat. It must be genetic in some way. I can't help myself sometimes. If someone annoys me, my brain doesn't go like, hey, you, middle finger. Like, my brain goes like, what sentence could I construct that would break them down to their base elements make them reconsider everything they've done in their entire life. And it's not a... It's like a good thing when you're 12, and then a bad thing forever after that. It's an impulse I always have to fight against. Now I realize there's no point in fighting against it. It's baked into my DNA, apparently. Did your parents ever diss people? No, but my mom's dad, the grandpa on my mom's side, he dissed like crazy. He would get in fights with like door-to-door salesmen that would come to the door. This is not a joke. He got into a fist fight with somebody that came to his door in like the 80s to sell something or, you know, convert him to a religion or something. He stabbed him in the neck with a ballpoint pen. It was the 70s in rural Ontario. So they, I don't know if there's like a police report. I don't think he did any time, but this is a very common story around the dinner table when I was growing up. But I must also say, he was the Baba Yaga. He was very funny. As much as, like, obviously, like, that's not a good thing to do. I'm sure I've told this before, but this is my favorite example of being, like, quick-witted to a fault. My grandparents had a skylight in their bathroom for whatever reason, because it's classy. So you could look up at absolutely nothing while you're taking a big dookie dump. And my grandma would get paranoid, and she would say, like, we gotta take out that skylight. I'm worried someone is spying on me when I'm taking a shower. And then he said, are you crazy, woman? Nobody wants to see you naked. And then she replied, I think I know somebody who wouldn't mind. And then he said, then that guy must be as crazy as I am. Which is just like from tip to tail, an absolutely perfect joke. Completely improv off the cuff. But something that it shouldn't have gotten to the point where you were able to say it in the first place. But definitely should not have said it. What a legend. Absolute belter. So I think it's in my blood a little bit. I think it's like an overgrown verbal linguistic center of the brain combined with like being very quick to anger. So it's like, you know, some people, if they have like an anger issue, they get mad and they're like, I'm gonna like hit you. But like my family is like, I'm gonna get mad. Well, at least I'm not as mad as your grandma was when she was sucking your grandpa's dick or something. Like, just insane, hateful shit. Like... Anyway, moving on. Just so you know, the new Shania Twain album has explicit language. Thank you, Mouth. I appreciate that. You know what? I'll make sure when I do my 30-minute Shania ride, I put the skull candies in. Because I don't want my kid to hear that... whatever messed up stuff Shania's saying. Were you here earlier, Melv? We did a Frick, Marry, Kill. The three people that don't impress Shania Twain that much. So you're Brad Pitt. That don't impress me much. That was my Frick. My Mary was, so you're a rocket scientist. Honestly, seems to me like that would, I mean, be a good provider at the very least. And then Kill was, so you got a nice car. Let's go, girls. BMW drivers, BTFO. She said nice car. It's not the cheapest luxury sedan on the market. Rear-wheel drive, white paint, and leased, okay? Come on. She's Shania! She's the crown jewel of Timmins, Ontario. I bet Shania... Listen, I bet she can afford a Rolls. But I bet she drives like a RAV4. That's my guess. Like, she could be ripping around in like a Bentley Bentayaga, but I bet she drives something like reasonably priced. Land Rover. I mean, considering her net worth, that's like kind of a budget vehicle for her, honestly. The Bentley Baba Yaga? Bro, if you don't make your payments, you might meet the Baba Yaga. How much is a Bentley Bentayaga? It's like, it's got to be like a $300,000 SUV. She does not have a Pagani Zonda, okay? They stopped making that stuff. It's one of those cars when I was a kid and I played Project Gotham Racing. I was like, dude, Pagani Zonda is so cool. I bet like everyone in Hollywood drives one. Then you look it up online and you're like, they made 6 of them total. They made like 1 as a concept for a card show and then sold 5 to oil barons and then shuttered the business. She drives a Ferrari? A Ferrari? Forget it's when Fiat and Ferrari merge. I drive a Ferrari Triple D. Yeah, she drives a Ferrari. He's got a wife. She's sick right now, but he's got a wife. They love each other very much. You know, I had a calendar of her from her modeling days in my garage. And then when we started dating, she asked me to marry her. And I didn't even want to. Can you believe that? Fiat already owns Ferrari? What the hell? How can Fiat own Ferrari when Ferrari is a cooler car? That doesn't make any sense. Ferrari should own Fiat. Fiat's only like, that's like a $35,000 automobile. NL, why would you take that? I don't know, I just thought it would be kind of like funny. Think revenue? What do you think you make more money on? I don't want to be here. A $500,000 car or a $35,000 car? I'm no rocket scientist, but I know a little bit. So true, so true. That's why, like, if we're talking, like, we were talking big 4 automakers, I mean, you got to start at the top. There's absolutely no way that Bugatti's not the most valuable automaker. Pay out the doubters on this one. I'm closing the tab. 3 losses in a row. Enjoy the weekend. Wait. We got 15 minutes. It's time for some Zoms. We're riding the 2-win streak in Zoms. It's not the worst Isaac I've ever played. Honestly, like, I'm not saying we played insanely well. But, like, the runs were just pure garbage the whole way through. I mean, go back to the one where the entire room turned into laser beam flies. That was a classic. Thank God I kept Book of Revelations. Okay. Don't use the D100 then. Sorry, I'll stop having fun. Listen to yourself. You sound like Chuck Grassley. See, I can't stay. You get a little annoyed. It immediately bubbles over. And I'm comparing you to a 85-year-old American senator, okay? See, like, I don't know where that is inside of me.